Welcome back. Today we are going to learn about agricultural practices, and that is protection from weed. Now let us understand what is this weed and why we need to protect our crop from the weed. So weed in a field, many other undesirable plants may grow naturally along with the crop. We are not planting their seeds. They are undesirable. They will grow naturally along with our crop. These undesirable plants are called weed. So these are undesirable and naturally growing plants, and removal of weed is very important, and removal of weed is known as weeding. Now why weeding is very important? Because weed compete with the crop plants for water, nutrients, space and light. So whatever fertilizer, nutrients we are providing to the crop, they are also utilizing them along with the crop. So crop will not get sufficient water, nutrients, space and even sometimes the sunlight. They affect the growth of the plant and crop. So some weeds interfere in harvesting. Now what is the meaning of interfering? Harvesting means while harvesting the crop, by mistake we are taking this weed also along with our crop. And this weed sometimes will be poisonous for animal or for human. So weeding is very important for the healthy growth of our crop, and to avoid this mixing poisonous plant into our crop, weeding is very important. Now we know that weeds are harmful for our crops, so it is important that we should remove them. Now these are the methods of removal of the weed. The first method is tilling before the sowing of seed will help in uprooting and killing of weed, which may dry up and get mixed with the soil. So before sowing, if we will tilling the soil, we have learnt in agricultural practices while sowing we are tilling the soil, because below layer is good in nutrients which will be beneficial for crop. So while doing tilling, we can uproot this weed and it will eventually get dry up and it will mix with the soil. So that is the one way to get rid of weed. Second, it is a manual removal, that physical removal by plucking the weeds, uprooting or cutting them close to the ground, but this we have to do time to time. As they will grow, again we have to pluck them. As and when, time to time, when they will grow up, we have to pluck them closer to the ground. Now manually when we are doing this weeding, we are using kurpi or we can use this seed drill. So about seed drill we have already learnt in implements of agricultural practices. With the help of seed drill we can remove the weed. Then fourth is weedicides. Now weedicides are the chemicals which we can use to remove the weed. So weeds can also be controlled by chemicals and they are known as weedicide. Now there are certain conditions when we are spraying weedicides, that at what time we have to spray weedicide and what all care must be taken while we are spraying the weedicide. So let us learn about weedicides. So now let us understand the removal of weeds with the help of weedicides. Weedicides are the chemicals which we are using to remove the weed. So they are sprayed in a field to kill the weed. They do not harm the crop. So how we can use these weedicides? That we are diluting weedicides and we are mixing these chemicals along with the water and we will spray them on the crop. We are diluting it with the water and spray it in the field with the help of sprayer. We need to spray during the vegetative growth of weed, before flowering and growth of seed. So before the flowers will appear on the weed, we have to spray this. Before vegetative growth of weed, we have to spray this chemical. Now weedicides are harmful chemicals, so while spraying, farmers need to be careful and they need to cover their mouth and nose with piece of cloth. We know that these are chemicals and farmer needs to protect themselves and they should not get exposed to these chemicals. So they have to cover their nose and mouth while they are spraying this chemical on the weed. And one important condition when we can spray this weed, that before the vegetative growth of weed or this unwanted, undesired plant, we can spray this weedicide, so it will be effective and it will kill the weed and our plant will have a healthy growth.